Hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome to another webinar series on the new sales experience and JobNimbus. My name is Craig, and joining me here this morning is Mr. Marty Nish. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. I will just say that we are just two members of a five-member team, and that five-member team is out of a 300-member team of JobNimbus, but we're a genius called the JobNimbus Genius Team, all clever with using a J instead of the G. JobNimbusified it, but we definitely love supporting with workshops like this, webinars, office hours. This kind of tends to be like an office hour in some ways because we just you guys are asking questions along the time, and we're just given a chance to answer those questions. So it's like dropping into the office and seeing some things that we can instruct on, and then ask questions on it. So, and then just generally we work as consultants. We want you to get the most out of JobNimbus. There's a lot of value in the software, massive amounts of value in the and customizable. But down on the side of that is that because it's so customizable, sometimes you need a little extra assistance to kind of guide you on the way. So, and that's what our teams, a lot of our teams, there for too as well. So there's a range of motions people can have. You may be comfortable with emotions, and you've worked with Excel spreadsheets, but you can have a range of emotions when you're looking at calculations estimating. This can be the range of the emotions when you're like, I don't know what to do here. But we're going to talk about that today. So why are we talking about calculations? We're talking about speed, accuracy, and reducing errors when you're estimating in JobNimbus. So what you're doing is you're taking what's called a roofing, like a measurement token, and a measurement token is like a placeholder. So it's taking a product in your products and services. So let's say you had 4 foot white vinyl siding. This is a siding piece. But if it was a fence, say a fence section, you've got a 6 foot white privacy. That's 8 foot wide, 6 feet high. Then you go to in the top area of your products and services, you'll see a button called Manage Calculations, and that takes you to the actual calculation you can add, or you search for the list of your item, and then you'll look and find and add your calculations to it. And what that does is when you create an estimate, you add your calculations before you start your estimate, and it will talk to that calculation, and it will bring your quantity. So measurements and calculations, just real quick, that is found when you're wanting to apply to a job. You're going to go into your calculations, and then what you'll do is you'll have a measurement tokens area. So say for fencing measurements, those measurement tokens are coming from your estimate settings. So just to know where are these coming from, we're going to show this in a second. Measurement settings, and then you're adding your calculation, just like I showed in the last screen. So the tip is you're often dividing the coverage that a product covers to get the quantity that you need. So if you've got a linear footage of your fence line, and let's just say it's one run you're looking at, and you're like, okay, so this is one run we're doing, and it's 32 feet, and let's say you're doing 8 foot sections, then it's going to divide by 8, and they give you 4 sections. So what we're looking probably now, this I'm saying very basic, but just basic breakdown for materials in your fencing. You're looking at sections. You could be looking at boards, line posts, corner posts, end posts, gates, hinge packs to go with your gates, latches to go in your gates, and potentially post hoppers. That not comprehensive, but that is a large part of what you are looking at. So when I was talking about back at a couple of slides here and about the tokens, you'll see that on here. So say the example in this one, actually let's go to the other screen and let's look at this one here where say you have total roof or total fence perimeter, and it's called a token. You'll see it right here in the settings is a token as well. And that's where you'd set it up, and you can add and create your own. And then when you go into, so kind of going backwards here, but when this is embedded into the product, the calculation is, it's coming from what you've set up beforehand in your measurements. And then when you go to create your job, you will have the option to put the number for that job specific perimeter in. If you think of a token, think of math algebra when you had x equals 5, let's say. we could also say we don't know what x is too. We would say x equals, we'll wait to find out until we give x an actual value. But let's just say if you did x plus 5, obviously that's going to place the x because x is a 5. And then you're going to say, well, that's 5 plus 5 equals 10. So, or the other way is that we're waiting for a number that we are going to give the system. And that's essentially what measurement tokens are. But so when you land in your JobNimbus account, you may be in your home settings, home screen dashboard, or you may start in your actual settings, which is where you're going to set these up. Now, before we go into settings, where I was talking about for where you're putting your measurements in are in under a job. So let's go under my jobs and in your financials. So within your financials, you have your ability to create an estimate. This has got a lot of, that I've been playing with in here. So there's a lot of estimates for this one job, which is not what you'd usually see for your jobs. You'd see one, maybe two in there that you've worked on for them. So, but here's your measurements. So when I click on measurements, before you start a job, this is where I've already started a fencing tokens one here. So you can drop that down and you can enter in, let's just say your fence perimeter, so 200 linear feet. But then, or you could do it in your section. So you've already calculated the linear footage of your property. You've said, okay, we need 5 sections on run 1, 3 sections on run 2. And so you could have your total sections that you need for this. And if you're charging out by panel sections, then let's just say you needed 12 sections for it. Let's just say you need two single gates. You could actually do a double gate one too as well if you wanted. And then you could have your end posts. So let's just say you had 1, 2, let's say 3, I'll say 4. That's what my keyboard printed in for me. And then corner posts, actually that's be end posts. You'd need maybe 2 end posts. And let's go 2 corner posts. So that's where you put your measurements in. And then when you go into a job, so you just complete back out of that, out of your measurements. And when you go to create an estimate, let's, I think I have a fencing one here. Let's use that one. And I believe I have one already in here, but maybe not. I think I have a white vinyl here. So here's, let's say it's a white vinyl privacy fence. We can just simply go to, and we can add a calculation to that. So let's say we are in panels, 6 foot high. So let's say you're an 8-foot panel. So we can actually we can build it actually right here if we wanted to. We can go into our tokens and say sections. So in this way, you actually would just add your sections. And if you've already priced that out, sorry, I didn't hit that. So it's just going to automatically put in the amount of sections that you have. So we put 12 in, so it's a 12 section. And then if I had my price on it, let's just say they're $100 a section, then you've got that there. So this is the outputting when you're actually doing an estimate. Let me just show you where some of this is set up and where we can do more of that. So let's go up into your settings. Now I'm going to, sorry, I'm going to try to do the screen here a little larger. That should be better. My apologies for showing you the first part without it being enlarged. So there we go. So we got estimate settings. That's where we do all of our estimates, estimating setup beforehand. Mine is going to be quite busy because my examples and tests and things like that I've done. But typically in this area, if you've gone here, if you have different types of jobs, these are all pre-configured presentations, estimate presentations. So here down the line, here is your measurement tokens. So here's your measurement tokens. And I had started one fencing tokens and simply started typing them in. I missed double gates. So if we have a double gate, we'll just put that in. We'll just say it's in each item and hit save on that. So now we have got double gates in there. That's as easy as you would just simply add a category and go fence, measurement tokens, and hit save on that, which gives you a new category. It'll drop to the bottom. So just drag that up. I'm just showing you how to make a new one here. You can see I've got a couple different ones. And then you just add a token to it. So, fence. So we just do fence perimeter, and then we just pick linear feet for that. And you could start building your tokens out like that, just simply going, okay, so this needs, a gate. How many gates are we going to put in here? And we'll go to, no, you're not going to do linear feet, you're going to do each and go save. So you can build this out. I've already built this fencing tokens one out, so I'm just going to delete. If you want to delete a category when you're doing your measurement tokens, you have to delete everything out of it first. So delete, and then you get the option to delete that category. So we'll get fencing tokens. These are all in. So now I can use these. These are like x equals 5. So these will be placeholders that you're going to put into a product that's going to wait to listen for until you put a measurement in the measurements area for the job that I showed you at the beginning. So just kind of a word placeholder is what they are. So if I go back out of here into my layouts, and I can do it this two ways. I can do this. Let's go back into my fence one here. So let's add a gate to this measurement. So it's going to start with the good, better, best on a lot of the new ones. So I'm going to just get rid of the better and the best. But you could use your good, better, and best. Now, just to call that out, you could be a wood, and you could do a vinyl, and then you could do a chain link. You'd have 3 options to your customer that way, and offer them side by side to your customer, and they can choose. When I add an item in here, I can simply click on add. If I have something in my products and services already, when you go settings and products and services and you build up your product base there, you can search for things. Like when I showed you, when I searched up white, I had done a test with doing each one on a separate run. Not very convenient, but was something we're trying to break down at one point. So those will search for the ones. If you don't have it in there, you actually can add it from here. So let's just go white vinyl gate and just do single. And then from here, you can actually take this and you can add it to your products and services by clicking here. So you can build out inside of your layout completely relevant job that way. The trick is you want to have the main name into the name area and then your description. I'll just say fills in the opening in the gap of the fence. Usually you're more pre-thought than that. It's not a reactive thing, but you could have your unit of measure for it being each and your material price on it. You can put that, so it's $150. I don't know my fence pricing, so and you could have it with your margin in and on top of it. You can leave your margin off and add your margin afterwards. So we'll just do it that way. So we hit save on this. Now you'll see that this is now sitting as a product. You can see that it's in gray, which is just giving you a visual that this is actually something in your product list that you can't edit right now. You can, because if you edit it here, it's going to edit for every estimate. Now on the estimate level, when you create an estimate, you'll see that these are white and they are editable. And that's because you can just edit that instance of it and it's not going to affect your main layout setting. So we've got that one in. Now what I can do is I can go to that little link here and I can say, I want to add a measurement to this, a calculation to this to auto fill in. So this is a gate. I'm going to say, I'm just going to put in my gate one. So now it's going to wait and listen. And when I put in this property needs 2 gates, it's going to actually bring in the number 2. This is just a test your formula spot to see if it works. So this is a really basic one, so not too difficult. But what we can also do with this is, make sure there's no save on that. Let's just publish my estimate here, my layout. Let's also add this from the products and services way. So let's go into your financials. So now you can go in here and I can add that in here as well. I can add products in, or I can take an existing product and go into manage calculations. But let's just go in, let's add a product or service. So let's just say this is the hinges, 2%. And leave it at material. Let's just say your material price is, say, $15. Again, let's just do save on that. Now what you're going to find is that the calculations and the new estimates, they're in a pocket in JobNimbus that there's like a couple minutes of a sync time that happens. And so right now, if I go to manage calculations and I look up hinges, we may not see it right away. We'll just see if we can get this. So hinge. So they're not there yet. So we're gonna wait for them for a minute. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go back out because it's just gonna take a couple minutes for the systems to sync up. So if I go back into my estimate settings, let's add a couple. Let's use that fencing one. Let's add a couple more. So we'll go fence, estimate settings. So let's do a latch. So latches. So let's do gate latch. And now we're going to add this into the products and service. See, it works directly from here. So just, I'm going to repeat the name to the description here. It doesn't look great on the, I'll just say keeps gate shut. I sure hope you're more creative than I am in professional. So your materials here, we've got, let's do another, let's say they're $10 a latch. Now this could be something that you could upgrade as an upgrade in your system too, in your signings and upgrades. So let's just do that. Let's do save on it. With the latches, what is interesting in some ways, which is what I really think is a nerdy way to say it, what I really think is interesting, is we don't actually have a token for latches, because we're not getting that granular, because we're like, well, when you have a gate, you're going to need a latch. So if I just simply put in how many of your gates we need is how many latches we need. And so all I need is put in gates in there. And so hitting save on that. Let's just see if I add an item and see if hinge shows up, if we're going to get our hinge yet. Okay, yes, we do get our hinges. I'm not going to add it yet. What I'm going to do is delete that out. I'm going to publish my changes, save my changes on the layout. And then I'm going to go back up into my settings and just show you the other way you can add. So estimate settings, I clicked without thinking. Let's go to my financials, products and services. So I can also mass work with my calculations here. So manage calculations. And let's look up hinges. There they are. There's 2%. You'll see that there's calculations. There's not one on there. If it had a calculation, it would have a little blue check mark there. So click on calculation. So this one's, what we're doing is we need one set for your gate. Whenever, again, this is similar to latches. We don't have a hinges thing here, but what we're doing is we're saying, hey, when we need a gate, we need a set of 2 hinges. So however gates there are, but if there's a double gate, then we need 2. We need 2 sets of hinges. So we can actually add these together. We can, what I would want to do first is order of math. You do PEMDAS, so parentheses, exponents we don't use. So then, and then it works parentheses, then multiplication, wait, PEM, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Is that right, Craig?
Got it. You got it. I was going to hop in, but you got it.
I feel like that was a Sesame Street moment. So we got gates. So what we're doing inside of here is then if we're saying, so we're just going to automate this as best as we can. So we're going to say, we're going to package this in because we want to contain this into one calculation. So I may have not needed that, but we'll see here. We're going to plus this, and then we're going to do another set of brackets, because in here we're going to say, because we're only saying how many double gates we need, we're going to put in the double gate one. So I can look down here and find my double gates and put that in. But if it's a double gate, if it's one double gate, it's actually going to need 2 hinges. So then we're actually just going to say, this is just going to give us a number quantity. So if we put 1 gate in, it's going to say it needs 1 hinge set. If we put 1 double gate in, then it's going to say it's going to not just need one hinge set, it's going to times that by 2, and it's going to say we need 2 hinge sets for that. And then if you've got if you've got a fence line that has one gate and one double gate in the back for RV parking or whatever, then you're actually going to get, you're going to put one in there, and then you're going to have one gate, but it's going to times it by 2, so you need 3 hinge sets for it. So hit save on that. So that's where we can add that in. It's quite nice. You'll have seen when we're building this out this way that you can actually, so instead of doing it like this, where I typed it in from the tokens here, and I looked down, I went double gates. The nice thing is in here, you can actually build it out too this way, and you can see all your items in this kind of fashion. So we got that in, we'll hit save, and I'm gonna keep building it out from, let's go settings, estimate settings, and then we're gonna go right from the fence again. I'm gonna build in, so we can do, let's go, just say end posts. And we're gonna put that in, put that up there, be creative, post needed for end of fence. Okay, there we go. So you need to measure these are gonna be each. And then we can just simply save that. And it's nice doing things inline sometimes. And we'll just click on that little link there to go into edit the calculation for it. And then I can pull my token for that and say, you know what, these were end posts. I'm going to tell it how many of those I need. Now, also what's nice in the system, and even though it won't affect it, like here now, whenever if I create these all in, you'll see that when I hit save and publish on this, when I go into a job here, so let me just go into my home and let's pull up this job. And then when I go into my financials and my measurements on the job, so you've seen I've already added in these. So let's just say we have two single gates and let's do it the way we did. So we talked about one gate and one double gate. So we've got this in, so we've got numbers in. We don't have anything connected to the fence perimeter, but we do have something connected to sections, gates, double gates. We didn't do double gates yet, but we have end posts in there. So now these will be auto saved whenever you change it. You'll see that if I put a 2 here, you'll see down at the bottom, there's a little save thing. So it'll give you saved and you'll know that it's saved. So we'll go back and we'll go to create estimate, and then we'll scroll down, get to my fence one and use that one. Now the way I saved it last, I worked with it, you have these items in now. So it's already bringing in, and you'll see here too for your gate latches. Right now I've got quantity of 1 for that one, and I didn't tie the double gates to this one. So then, but you'll see that I didn't add hinges in. So I can add hinges in on the fly here. So hinge sets, we had one single gate and we had a double gate. So we need actually 3 hinge sets. So, and you can actually build something out from here. Let's say we didn't have corner posts. I can actually do that here too. And even on an estimate itself, I can add items to the products and services from there, which is more preferable than just doing ad hoc items. It's good to have your corner posts for the corners. Make it an each. I can put my material price on it. I'll get my margin off there for now. Let's do $50 and save. So we got the post for the corners. I can go into it even here, and I can actually add product calculation right from here too. So let's go my corner posts, add that in, save it, and now you'll see that it's right here. And so it's added to the job. So you'll see that's how they all tie together. Now, the preferable thing, you wouldn't want to do that, because now if I go, like, you wouldn't want to do that as a practice generally to set things up, because if I go into my estimate settings, and I go into estimate layouts, you'll see that once I get to my fence one, I added in the hinges and the corner posts, but that was only on a job level. So if I want things to show up for my next estimates and build them out that way, I need to have those in right here. And then I can do my corner posts. So that's the main part of this. I actually want to invite Craig on the screen here.
I think he hit the nail on the head. But the main thing to know about the calculations is, as long as you're remembering that order of operations that you spoke of, PEMDAS in English. I learned it as BODMAS in French, but either way, as long as we remember that, we can calculate just about anything within JobNimbus here. And the sky's the limit. I mean, we've got folks using this for fencing, for roofing, for concrete. Heck, we've even got a few dog walkers using this. So it just really comes down to how creative we can get with our calculations. And like you mentioned previously, we're just really dividing the length of our product by the actual measurement token. So like our total fence length divided by either how many panels we need or how many linear feet. As long as we keep that in mind, we can do just about anything. I'm going to share our Vimeo series here as well on calculations, as well as some of our cheat sheets that we've got here. I'm going to promote this as a notification here right now.
And I was just going to throw into this too that just as we're talking on the divided by quantity, I just threw in a 4-foot white vinyl privacy in here, and these would be, let's just say they're 8-foot sections on this, and you were just pulling this off of your fence perimeter linear footage calculation. What you can simply do is you can take and add your calculation into this one, and this time you would use your total fence perimeter, and if they're 8-foot sections, then you're going to divide that by 8. And then from that, you're going to get the amount of sections you need. So in here, if white vinyl privacy, when I go back in and into my jobs, and we'll see that in the measurements, we got fencing measurement tokens. I put 200 linear feet in there. So then when I look in the estimate, I would create it, I can do it if I created a new one, because that's going to bring in the newest changes. And if I go use layout, estimate details, you're going to see now I've got my hinges in here, corner posts, and then I'm going to say that it's going to need 25 panels that way too. So you can break it down even as far as, we do 20 boards per panel. You could even further break things down that way too to get a lot more complicated like that. So
The nice thing about the fencing calculations is, for the most part, they're relatively simple. And as long as we take a few minutes just to sit down and kind of think it through, you'll be like, oh, okay, we're calculating linear feet, even if there isn't a measurement token in the system. Marty, you walked us through how we can create some more and tie those to associated line items. So I would recommend, for anybody that still has any questions or anything like that, touch base with our team, our support team, your dedicated account manager if you have one. Let's just make sure that if it's a little muddy, we can make that less murky and more clear for you. So touch base with ourselves, and we do have content again, like I mentioned, those Vimeo previous recordings and the cheat sheets and stuff. Feel free to download them. They're here for your help. Well, thank you, Mr. Marty, and thank you everybody for joining us here today. It's great to see you and get your feedback. If you do have questions, reach out to our support team or ourselves directly as well. Happy to help. Have a great day.